And for further analysis on the matter, Dr. Meher Sofi, a political analyst, joins us from Cairo. Mr. Meher, thank you so much for joining us. And first off, what are the implications of Israel's intensified military operations on the humanitarian situation in Gaza, and particularly regarding civilian casualties?
Good afternoon to you and your audiences. So what's happening now is a continued genocide against women and children, and the bombardment is intensified since the operation has started. Since the military operations approved politically and the military rights everywhere, and killing more casualties from women, children, and seniors peoples, other than the continued displacement and destroying great vast of areas in the north of Gaza or in the eastern areas of the Strip. Previously, Rafah was clear evidence of such a genocidal war, and the continued demolition of the housing and expel the residents and to be fled into areas said by the Israeli forces that are safe. But the Israeli army bombardment several areas of shelters that shelter the civilians that pursue flowers and food there, and the Israeli forces allowed the entry of trucks that is just a drop in the ocean. But the Israeli occupiers trying to create a trap before the residents and the forcibly displacement, and hundreds of martyrs fell since the renewed military operations against the Strip. Israel is trying to increase the number using the system of burning everything, regardless of the targeting of the hospitals, lately the hospitals that aiming not to provide any treatment for any wounded or patient, and force the people to head toward the south under the rows of missiles and tanks, and therefore the Gaza Strip is living in hell and in a great inferno where the people aren't able to get anything even to feed their babies, and the result is people fell down while they are starved due to the great or the biggest blockade, and prevented the entry of the aid for more than 80 days, and just yesterday allowed only the delivery of tens of shipments amid of uh, the bombardment by the air drones to against those who are pursuing such food.
Yes,
So
Dr. Meher. Yes, Dr. Meher. Sorry for cutting in, but delving into Israel's internal matter, Netanyahu is currently facing disputes against political leaders, including Knesset members, who are accusing him of lacking an operational plan capable of defeating Hamas. How might this impact Netanyahu's government upcoming strategy?
I see that the current government strategy is based on not to be shaken, as Netanyahu enabled himself, its coalition, his leaders not to be infringed. He is controlling of the constitution or the court, who sacked the chief Runbard and replacing him another chief. So the government isn't going to be affected by any critics that are being directed to the coalition and the government, that the government is responsible of indulging the Israel onto the verge of collapse. And the public opinion facing the government in pursue the release of the detainees in return of agreeing a deal of a swap. But Netanyahu's government never affected of such critics that enabling itself in prolonging the war, in preserving its militarily and security presence, and to stay in the government for a long time.
Yes, regarding the detainees, on the other hand, we have the detainees' families are calling for an immediate exchange deal. However, Netanyahu is seeking to appoint a new Shin Bet, who is actually against all these demands and exchanges. How might this affect the strategy then? Does the public opinion have any role in this?
Regardless of the past days and months since the aggression started in October 7th, 2023, the public opinion and the detainees' families are trying to demonstrate objecting Netanyahu's government and on Netanyahu himself, but failed to convince Netanyahu to make the continued swap deal. But he attacked the places of detainees, and so only 20 alive prisoners are still alive, and the fear of the rest, of the continuation and the intensified bombardment in Gaza Strip. So they took to the street, demonstrating in Tel Aviv in order to accept the deal, and then the new Shin Bet chief saying that he is supporting the prolonging of the war. So these bids were failed and would never be succeeded later on, as Netanyahu is already determined to occupy Gaza, specify the specific goals of their absolute victory, in which eliminating Hamas, demilitarization of Hamas, and expelling the people of Gaza out of Gaza, forgetting the matter of the detainees and making it a marginalized issue, and do not wish to talk more about the detainees, as he has a lot of on his plate due to the future of his government. He said, citing that they are the fuel of Israel, its presence, its security, and its future, and therefore whoever is going to sacrifice will be immorted. But the Israeli street failed throughout the past months. It never managed to pressure Netanyahu to release any detainees through negotiation. But when the negotiations were in January by the Egyptian Qatari negotiator, Netanyahu followed, thus rejected all proposals by prolonging the time of the war, as he only wishes to achieve the main goal of occupying all Gaza and terminating Hamas.